Okay, let's go.
Hi, this is Dr. Victoria Nalule, the CEO of NEM Energy. And today we want to give you a small tour of our mini project, NEM Farm. And in this video, we want to talk about improved cattle infrastructure. And then you might ask yourself, how is this connected to NEM Energy? We all know that the energy sector is very key for the economic development of every country. And in different countries, especially developing countries, they've been experiencing the challenge of energy poverty. Energy poverty, it's where majority of the people are using traditional energy such as firewood for cooking, candles for lighting. So there's always a difference between modern energy and traditional energy. So through farming, especially for people who are involved in cattle keeping or even people who are involved in poultry, they can use that waste to improve on the energy that they're using at home. So that type of energy is what we call biogas, because we know with the energy sector, you have fossil fuels, including oil, gas, and coal, and then you have renewables, including solar, wind, biogas, nuclear, geothermal, and so on. So today's focus is how we can utilize modern cattle infrastructure to ensure that we utilize the waste to get biogas that can help us get modern energy. So that's the focus of the video, but this is part one to show you the kind of infrastructures that we had at the beginning and the new infrastructure we have. And then in part two of the video, we shall show you our projects when it comes to biogas. Thank you. Join us. So right now I'm in East Africa and we're trying to look at smart farming, smart agriculture, because I know most of you know me as an expert in oil and gas, an expert in energy, but obviously when it comes to the African countries, agriculture is very key. So our farm, we're trying to look at smart farming. And right now we want to look at improved infrastructure. How are improved modern infrastructure relevant for cattle keepers, for farmers, and other people interested in agriculture? So what you see here, this is the first structure that we had at our farm. And it had a lot of issues, including issues to do with drainage. The drainage system wasn't good. And through research and also practice, we realized that poor infrastructure costs the farmer. Poor infrastructure will cost your animals because it will lead to various diseases. So as a farmer, as an entrepreneur, it's always good to invest in modern infrastructure. So this was the first one we started with, and this was the second one. So it has been a journey because everything you have to start small, and as you're starting small, you learn the advantages, you learn through experience, you learn the challenges, and once you realize the challenges, you find ways of how to address the challenges through practical solutions. So I know most of you know me as an author of books, but right now we're on the ground. It's more about the practice. So this is the second infrastructure we constructed, but also with this, you realize that it had its own challenges. The feeders were not on standard, and then also the drainage system was lacking. As you can see, it's still lacking, and then the infrastructure also is not good, like it's not comfortable for the cattle. So we decided at NEM Energy to do some research, and then we contracted some who have now taken up a project of modernizing our cattle sheds. And now we're going to show you what they have done so far. We're now at our third cow shed, and this is now what we call the modern cow shed. You've seen the first two and the challenges that we experienced with the first two. Now we're trying out this modern cow shed. It has been a journey, and I've actually been here to supervise it, working with the engineers to ensure that we make the best out of this infrastructure. So construction is still ongoing, so don't worry if you see that some of the things are still being fixed. We're at our third modern infrastructure, and I'm going to introduce the engineer and the team that have been working to ensure that we get the best infrastructure, and who'll be taking us through all the different sections and what we're going to expect from this infrastructure. But also just to note, obviously as an energy expert, with this infrastructure, we're also aiming to get enough manure so that we can utilize the biogas energy. We always talk about energy access, and in Africa, over 600 million people lack access to modern energy. For farmers out there, you can use whatever you have, especially the manure, if you have cattle, and also the chicken manure, to ensure that you address the challenge of energy poverty by utilizing biogas. But that will be for next time. For now, let me introduce Mr. Patrick Senyondo.
Thank you, Dr. Victoria, for trusting us as Golden Horse Farm Solutions here in Uganda. The modernity of this structure mainly focuses at improving feed efficiency and as well waste utilization. Now, if we are to look at this calf pen, it's a raised one, and we will be able to keep our calves as clean as possible. That makes them very safe from contradicting any diseases. And as well, right below here, we are able to collect any waste that we would further use to generate energy through biogas systems. And given its feeder here, we can be able to determine what amount of feed these calves will have to feed on a daily basis, so that we don't have cases of feed wastage. Furthermore, you can see our drainage systems. This will enable us time and again to collect our wastes. I think we will take you direct to the structure so that you get to have a glimpse at it and how it works to improve efficiency right here at the farm. At the behavior of a cow, within its feeding nature, usually it nods upwards, especially if it is enjoying its feed. That's why in our design, we have this feeder curved so that all the feed collects centrally here and the cow can ably access it by all means. It's also raised on this other end to ensure that we do not have cases of feed wastage. It is shallow enough to ensure that at least the workers here at the farm do not put excess feed herein. That will improve a great deal of feed efficiency. The cows will exactly feed what they are deemed to feed on any particular day. So this will take us into our exercise area. Let's look at what our exercise area gets to look like. Yes, right here in our exercise area, it is having standard dimensions to enable the cows exercise enough. On this end, we will have particularly 15 heads of cattle, and this space of 14 feet will enable these cows exercise enough. It is made of block slates right here, ideally because these cows are very heavy animals, so they will need a very strong foundation. Least this foundation will get destroyed in just a couple of days. So with these block slates, we are sure that the structure will be here for the test of time. Furthermore, in our resting area, our resting areas are designed in cubicles that are meant to restrict the movement of this cattle. In our resting area, we'll have a cow mattress, and that cow mattress, it is on that cow mattress that this cattle will time and again have to rest. Through the behavior of any female cow, the cow will have to enter here, but will have no means to change or orient inside this resting area. This keeps our resting area totally very clean, and in case our cattle here wants to put out any waste, it will have to first exit before it gets to defecate or urinate. That keeps our resting area very clean, and that implies that our cattle here will be very safe from diseases like mastitis. Yes, thank you so much.
For all farmers out there in Africa, even in other developing countries, we always focus on ensuring that we have infrastructure, not just roads, hospitals, but also for people in villages, infrastructure when it comes to homes, for those who have animals, who are interested in farming, infrastructure when it comes to farming. It's very key because we always talk about energy infrastructure. We also always talk about construction of roads, hospitals. But when it comes to farming, modern infrastructure is also very key. And how are we going to connect it to the energy sector? Because, like I've already mentioned, in Africa, we have the challenge of energy poverty, and yet we have the resources. We have renewable energy. Obviously, we know of solar energy, wind energy, hydropower, nuclear energy, but we can also utilize biogas because it's a form of energy. So, and we realize that over 70% of people in rural areas in African countries and developing countries, they don't have access to electricity. They don't have access to modern energy. But if they're invested in agriculture and farming, they can use the waste to ensure that they get that energy through biogas. So in our next phase of the video or next project, we shall show you how we're going to utilize manure from our cattle and chicken to ensure that we have access to modern energy through biogas.